So, Amy, by the way, you sent me away with a basket of vegetables, and I have the best salsa, so thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
And it was fun to be able to share with my family that this was 100% organic, and I'm very excited to have you here to be able to share with people how you actually do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. I know to receive a USDA certified organic classification, it takes a number of years, and it's a lot of learning, about 3 years initially. So please share with us, how do you even start? What products do you use? You know, how do you do this?
Okay, great question. To become USDA certified organic, your land does need to be free from any sort of restricted inputs for 3 years, a minimum of 3 years. So that's the first step. Then you need to be using only naturally occurring fertilizers, no herbicides, no synthetic insecticides. And as organic farmers, you're always just working to build your soil. That is the key to organic farming and organic growing, is really focusing on building your soil health.
Do you take a lot of soil samples and send them off for testing?
We do. We like to sample ahead of particular crops, and also just to get an idea of how the soil on the farm is looking. And like I said, we're always working to build our soil health.
Sounds great. So I know that you also use crop rotation. I also know you use cover crops.
Yep.
But I also know sometimes everybody needs a little help. So what products do you use when those plants need that little help?
That's very true. We are certified organic vegetable growers, and vegetables do require a fair amount of fertility. So we do use cover crops, like you mentioned. We call those green manures. It would be a crop that's grown and turned back into the soil to provide nutrients, add soil tilth and organic matter. We also can employ compost, okay? That's a great addition to your soil. And then we also have organic fertilizers, because like I said, vegetables are pretty hungry type plants.
They are.
They put out a lot of, vegetables for you, and in return you do need to feed them some.
Yes.
So we had a couple fertilizers that I brought along today. This one is a poultry litter, like a turkey litter, so turkey manure, right? And this one here is actually feather meal and bone meal. So you see they're naturally derived. Synthetic fertilizers can be a little harsh for your soil life.
Yes.
And as organic farmers, we really just want to feed those microorganisms in our soil and make them happy.
Yes, yes. Now, we can cultivate our plants and have them be as healthy as can be, but every now and then the insects do come in. So how do you manage that?
That's true. Well, the best thing you can do to start is to get yourself a good bug book, right? So we have one here today that I refer to often, and that's the number one thing to do, is identify your pest first.
Amy, show that one more time, because that's my favorite book.
It is. It's an excellent one. Definitely, that is your first step. If you think you're having a bug problem, you need to identify your insect. Determine if it's bad or good, and then decide what steps you're going to take. So we do use a few techniques on the farm. We use a row cover as a barrier for pests, and we use this a lot with our cucurbits, with squash, cucumbers, melons, to keep out squash bugs. So that is a common problem in the home garden, is squash bugs or vine borer. So you can use a wire hoop here and lay the fabric over top. Water will come through and light will transmit as well, but it protects your plants from insects.
Tuck it in.
Yeah. So very easy to use. We also have at our disposal some organic insecticides. I brought one along today, BT. And this is basically just an insecticide that is pest specific. So it's not broad spectrum, and it's a biological, so it's naturally derived, and it's not going to be detrimental to a wide range of insects. It's specific for chewing worms.
Yes, it's Bacillus thuringiensis.
That's right. I'm glad you said that, because I have a hard time with that one. But so that's an example of an organic insecticide, but it's pest specific, not broad spectrum.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You also have some beautiful flowers behind you.
Thank you. That's another technique on the farm is we're always planting pollinator or beneficial insect habitat. So beneficial insects love a small umbel flower. This is some Queen Anne's lace that I just cut today. We have a little ironweed. These are small flowers you see, and that's really what beneficial insects go for. So it's nice to have those in the garden. We have a little goldenrod here, and it's amazing the number of insects you'll see on that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely phenomenal. So establishing that type of ecosystem where you have good bugs and bad bugs on the farm and you're not spraying anything really will kind of bring nature into a balance. It's not perfect,
but it's there.
But it's there, and it really does work.
How do you deal with diseases? Do you just forego the crop, or do you manually try to address it? Or
Okay, that is also a great question. We do, as organic farmers, we rotate our crops. When you're USDA certified organic like we are, you need to be on a minimum 3-year crop rotation, which means if we had tomatoes in this part of the farm, they can't return there for a minimum of 3 years.
Interesting.
So that helps to thwart the insects that are specific to different crops, right? They're not in the same place each year. They have a harder time finding them. So that is a big help. And then also the pollinator habitats, you know, they really, they help. And then we do get disease. Like people always ask us, what do we do when our tomatoes start to brown, the leaves start to brown from the bottom up? Well, they just do that.
Yep.
It's Virginia, and it's hot, and it's humid. So you just kind of have to take, you know, take the good with the bad, realize your plants may not always look perfect. They will still produce.
Yes.
Maybe not for the entire season like you like, but we find that just trying to fight, you know, disease at every turn is sometimes a losing battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, I have to admit, I've been watching this farm develop for many, many years, and I'm just so pleased to see how far that Amy's garden has come, and that you are a CSA and you are available for produce at local farmers markets. So thank you.
Thank you
very
so much, Peggy.
Yes.